Have you ever looked back at a situation and wondered, why didn't I leave earlier? Or maybe you're thinking, why can't I leave? A job, a project, a friendship, a habit, or a relationship. Sometimes the signs are all there for months, sometimes years, and yet we stay. We keep trying, not because things are good, but because leaving somehow feels harder than staying. Imagine this: a friendship or a relationship that no longer feels the same. The conversations have become one sided, the effort feels uneven. You find yourself more drained than happy, more anxious than reassured. But then another thought appears. We've known each other for so long. We've been through too much together. I can't just throw all of those years away. The thought feels reasonable, almost loyal, but it hides a trap. Now, imagine something else. You spent many years building expertise in a role. You worked late nights, handled difficult projects, learned systems that took months to understand. But over time, something has changed. You notice that you're becoming someone you don't particularly like at work. More cynical, less curious. Sunday evenings feel heavier than they used to. You stop volunteering ideas, you stop feeling proud of your work. And the exhaustion doesn't feel temporary anymore, it feels permanent. But leaving still feels impossible because your brain immediately says, I have already invested too much to walk away now. And again, the thought feels reasonable, almost responsible, but it hides the same trap. In both cases, your brain is treating past investment as a reason to continue, not because the future looks good, but because the past was expensive. Psychologists and economists have a name for this. It's called the sunk cost fallacy. A sunk cost is something you've already spent and cannot get back: time, money, effort, energy. The problem is that our brains treat past investments as reasons to continue, even when continuing no longer makes sense. The 3 years you've already spent in the role cannot be recovered, whether you stay another year or leave tomorrow. Those 3 years remain exactly the same, but our brains don't like that feeling. We want the investment to pay off. So we stay longer, hoping the situation improves enough to justify what we have already put in. This happens everywhere. This shows up in places we rarely notice. You stay subscribed to a service you haven't used in 8 months because canceling feels like admitting the money was wasted. A company continues a project that everyone privately knows won't succeed because millions have already been spent on it. A person keeps preparing for an exam or career path they no longer want because changing direction now feels like throwing away years of effort. A couple continues to stay in a relationship even though both people have changed and neither is happy in what the relationship has become. The pattern is always the same. The only thing is that the question changes from, is this still right for me? To, but after having spent so much on this, after everything I have put into this, how can I stop now? And that is the moment the past starts making decisions for the future. There is one question that cuts through this surprisingly well. If I weren't already in this situation, knowing what I know today, would I choose it again? Would I take this job again? Would I start this project again? Would I make this commitment again? If the answer is no, that is important information. Not necessarily a reason to leave immediately, but definitely a reason to pay attention. and one important distinction. Of course, not every difficult situation should be abandoned. Every job has frustrating periods. Every relationship has hard seasons. Every meaningful goal involves discomfort. The question isn't, is this difficult? The question is this still taking me where I want to go? Those are very different questions. There is another question that can help. Not, is this hard? Most worthwhile things are hard. Building a career is hard. Raising children is hard. Learning a skill is hard. Good relationships go through difficult seasons. Difficulty alone tells you very little. A better question is, what is this situation doing to my energy? Is it draining me while moving me towards something I still care about? Or is it draining me while keeping me in the same place? Those are very different experiences. Some things leave you tired but fulfilled. Others leave you tired but smaller. One asks for effort, the other slowly takes more than it gives. And sometimes the difference is worth paying attention to. One of the hardest things in life is accepting that a past investment does not create a future obligation. Let me say that again. One of the hardest things in life is accepting that a past investment does not create a future obligation. Sometimes staying is the right decision, sometimes leaving is. But ideally, the decision should be based on where you're going, not just on how long you've already been there. Because time already spent is gone either way. The only question that remains is, what would you choose if you were deciding for the first time today? You don't have to stay on a train going in the wrong direction just because you've already paid for the ticket. Think about it.